Hello, everyone. Welcome back to The Garden Dirt. Today, we have a very special guest. I am just constantly impressed and amazed by his knowledge. He has worked here for 25 years almost,
That's
24.
right.
If you have visited the Garden Center or greenhouse, you certainly know Bob. He is our head grower, our greenhouse manager. He knows everything about everything. I always say he's like the only person who knows everything about everything. Trees, shrubs, perennials, houseplants, annuals, anything. I cannot gush about Bob enough, and he knows it, and he's a humble king. He always is like, oh my gosh, no, but he is absolutely amazing. So without further ado, welcome, Bob.
Thank you. Great to be
Thank
here.
you so much for joining us today. I guess we should just see, can you just do a brief overview of introduce yourself? And I know I just did a really gushy introduction, but
So it's
kind of how you got started in the
sure.
industry.
So
They're rocking already.
I have been gardening since I was 10. Obviously, I didn't start in the business then, but I started working professionally in a greenhouse when I was 18. And I've been here for 25 years. And I can't imagine ever doing anything else.
Oh.
I just, I look forward to coming to work. I can't imagine ever retiring, although, someday
That's
I'm going to
amazing.
have to.
I love to
But
hear
it's
that.
just like, I just don't understand why I'd want to.
I love that.
So, yeah, I just have a great passion for gardening.
And you started in your grandma's garden, right? Helping
Yeah,
your grandma?
Yes. My grandma lived right next door. Garden was in my backyard, and she helped me with the first few years until I got the hang of it.
Nice.
Yeah, loved it.
And your favorite plant?
Oh, I think my favorite plant would have to be palm trees.
Dang it. I said on the promo that it was an orchid.
Well, I do grow a lot of orchids.
Because you
at home.
started, that was your first houseplant, right?
No.
Okay, so I'm just striking out.
So,
What was your big story about the orchid you told
orchids? So I have several orchid plants that I've had since 1977.
me? Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah, and they still bloom regularly. They're fantastic.
Yeah, because you didn't see probably the promo I posted on Facebook and Instagram, who our next guest was, and here are some hints, and for people to guess who it was. And I said, favorite plant is an orchid plant. He's worked with us for over 10 years, because that could have been a lot of people. But then I said, loves Mandarin Spice.
Love Mandarin Spice.
So if they want to
my
sponsor us
goodness.
anytime now.
And I said some other things, and everybody guessed Bob. So everybody knows you well. But if you don't know Bob super well yet, we will get to know him a little more throughout the day or the show.
All right.
But yeah, so I guess we'll just jump right in. We have, right now it's mum season. The mums are our pride and joy. So we wanted to talk to you a little bit about the mums, the growing process, how you guys start them, when you start them. Just give us your full rundown of
Okay.
the mums.
So we get our mums in as teeny tiny little plants about this tall. They're rooted in some Oasis, which is a rooting medium. And the cuttings are grown offshore. They're shipped to the United States here to rooting stations. Rooting stations then ship to us. So when we get them, like I said, they're about this tall. We do 3 cuttings in a 12-inch pot. We have a special growing medium that we use here that has peat, pine bark, perlite, and core in
And
it.
don't be modest. What do we call it?
Bob soil.
Bob worked with it. Tell him about kind of how you created
So
your
years
soil.
and years ago, a man come around. He had some samples, and he said, "I want you to try our soil mix out." And so he had that business for several years, and then he sold it to a larger business. Anyway, we formulated this, and so they've been making it for us for years.
So you worked with the distributor
Yes.
to essentially craft the soil how you
Right.
wanted it to be for
Yeah.
your plants to grow the
Yes.
best that they could.
Yep. Yeah.
So we call it Bob soil.
So we get these little mum plugs in at the 1st of June. We grow them in the greenhouse for the first month of their life, because you never know what the temperatures are going to be like, and they like to be kept kind of slightly on the warmer side so they develop roots quickly. And even in June we can get some cool nights. So first month of their life, they're in the greenhouse. We pinch them back about, usually the end of June, middle of June, depending on how fast they grow. Then we take them outside, give them plenty of space so they don't touch each other. And then about the 4th of July, we give them a second lighter pinch. And this ensures a compact plant that's not going to grow up, get heavy, and then split open. So that's one of the things that makes ours different than other people's, because I'm sure you've seen those mums that have nice flowers, but then they start to split open,
lopsided, and
they're
yeah,
lopsided.
they're not shaped dome-like.
Yeah. So
and then did you say how many plants we put in there? How many plugs?
We do 3 plugs.
Yeah,
per
so that's
12-inch
why
pot.
ours are so much bigger.
In a 12-inch pot, still, we're doing them in a kind of a triangle, a tight triangle in the middle, so the branches grow together, again ensuring the non-split.
Yeah, and it's just crazy to see, because when I watch them plant, or I go up in the greenhouse and I see them putting all the plugs in, they're so little, they're the size of your finger.
Well, it looks ridiculous.
It's so small, and you're like, oh my gosh, these are not gonna, but they grow to be 36 inches wide.
Yeah.
So then when they space them all out, they take them out of the Ludi, which is our growing houses. They space them all out for anticipating how big they get, and it seems like they're so far apart, and people are like, oh, why do you go all the way back there with them?
Yeah.
Why are they so far apart? But it's because when they grow and they're 36 inches apart, or 36 inches wide each, you have to have them spaced like that.
Yes.
It's kind of like making cookies. They start out small.
Yeah.
And
then they spread. So we water by hand here for several reasons. We could use a drip irrigation system, but we grow on pavement. People are out there walking around, and it kind of becomes a tripping hazard. So we did away with that.
Well, Ian, you were saying the other day on the radio show, which, by the way, Bob and I are on the radio show every Saturday morning, little plug. And so he answers questions also every Saturday on 600 WMT, if you want to tune into that as well. But we were talking on the radio show about how you like to not do spaghetti line irrigation or anything, because then you can keep a closer eye on each mum when you're watering.
Right.
And if something's developing a fungus or splitting weird or whatever, you can take care of that right away.
Yes, and so we water out of a pond also. And I know that we do have some drip irrigation in our tree rows. But when I first started working here, we had some more drip irrigation. It was like I was spending more time
with the algae.
Yeah, cleaning the algae out of the lines and the little picks that you put down in the pots, and it was worth it. So we did away with a lot of that.
Yeah.
And to say we're growing geraniums in the greenhouse, and we've got those on a drip line. Not every geranium dries out at the same time.
No.
And it varies from variety to variety. So in a larger greenhouse, I suppose like in a huge wholesale greenhouse where you're growing one type of plant and the same variety in a greenhouse, it might work.
Yeah.
Well, it does work.
But we like to, I guess, care for each plant individually and do what each individual
Absolutely.
plant needs.
Well,
Because even when we water trees and stuff, not
yeah,
everything.
even in the nursery now, in potted trees, we still have that drip irrigation. I haven't used it in 2 or 3 years because I think it just does a little better when you go through and water instead of going through and pulling out the plug every time, and different size pots and different plants. So we only use it for B&Bs now.
So going back to the mums a little bit, what kind of, I know you talked about what compares our mums, what makes them different from other places. So we've been seeing a lot of like bulk shipments of mums come in, and that's all fine. But I guess why would you encourage people to get our mums?
As I was saying, ours are tighter. They don't flop. They don't split apart. They stand up to the wind better. But one of the biggest things is that they're grown right here in Cedar Rapids or Marion.
Yeah.
And those other mums that you're seeing at box stores and grocery stores are grown somewhere else and shipped to here.
For a quick turnover.
So, we're always about shopping local. Very important. And you need to help out the community.
Yeah, well, and I just I have such a soft spot for everyone who grows the mums, and I'm just so proud of our team and our people because we start in May. And so it's kind of hard sometimes to see the big box stores or other, companies that ship in the mums and just turn them over in a day or two. And like we've put 5 months of work into them, and hand pinching, hand watering, hand planting, every aspect of care is gone through our people. And so I just really love when people come out and appreciate the aspect of them being grown locally and by our community and people who live right here.
And if you pay attention, the quality there's a huge difference.
Yes.
Well, even going off mums, you guys grow asters too, which I think this year more people have learned about when they've been out there.
It's true. Asters have become more popular over the years. One reason that they're so hardy. I mean, they're like zone 3. The other thing is they're great pollinators. I mean, I was just out watering the asters a minute ago, and they were covered with honeybees.
People kind of get scared to go up to them, and I'm like, no, they're not wasps. They're
they're honeybees. They don't want to sting you.
They
die
just
after
covered.
they're covered with bees. But and butterflies love them. Sadly, I haven't seen a lot of butterflies.
If you plant them in your yards, you would.
I think a couple reasons why we don't get many out here. The wind is just prevalent most of the time. But I'm going to tell a story about, I don't know, maybe the 3rd year I worked here, we started doing asters. And one day I went out there, and there were so many viceroy butterflies, which is like a little mini version of a monarch. When you walk past, it was like a cloud.
Just
of them coming off it. I've not seen that since then. I
wish you had cameras back then. I know you did, but not as easy
as
like
not like no camera on your cell phone or anything like that.
An ode to how long Bob has worked here. But like how you could just like take out your phone, you couldn't do that back then.
Yeah.
So
it was amazing.
Yeah.
But just talking with a lot of people this year too, you can put asters in your pots outside, and then when it gets close to the frost, you can plant them. When's that timeline of when to plant them?
Kind of like the shrubs and trees, and we'll talk about that here, I guess, soon. You can plant things like that up until the ground freezes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people, I feel like in years past, and correct me if I'm wrong, but people haven't been buying the asters as much as the mums, and this year, I haven't even looked at numbers, so I guess I don't know for sure, but to me, it feels like Jordan was saying, like, a lot more people have been talking about the asters, discovering them almost, planting them more.
Well, just knowing that after you put it in your pot for the year, you can put it in the ground and it'll come back too.
And again, I think the pollinator tract.
Yes, for sure. Well, let's talk about perennial versus annual mums. So all asters are perennial. They will come back every year if they're planted in the ground.
Now, so mums, we grow 2 kinds of mums. We grow what we call annual mum, and then we grow perennial mums. Now, the annual mums are the ones that are in the big pots that you are huge and gorgeous and big flowers and an array of color. And then the series of perennial mums that we grow are igloos. They're very hardy. Flowers are smaller, but still beautiful, but not as an array of color.
How many colors do you think we had of them?
I want to say there was 12.
12 colors could
12
be.
colors.
Whereas we have 40 colors of the annual mums.
Yes. I think the perennial ones, you do get a wide color. You just don't get like, some of the mums have that 2-tone. You're not going to see that in the perennial mums, which I understand.
And I will say we sell them. They come smaller when we sell them. We grow them smaller, but when they come back year after year, they're huge.
They get big.
Yeah, they get big.
Now,
so talk about cutting those back and stuff.
Okay, so with the annual mums too. Now I have known people that have planted them and had them come back. I think it's just where you plant them. So like if we're on the east side of your house, close to the foundation, west or the south side of the house, close to the foundation, they may come back. It's worth trying.
Yeah, it's like a 50-50 chance, right?
Yeah.
So we don't advertise them as coming back, but you're certainly welcome to try.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so the perennial mums. Say somebody plants a perennial mum this fall. What should they expect for bloom time next year? When should they prune it next year?
Okay, so much like that, I explained earlier about the how we do the annual mums. So your mums are going to come up, in the spring, and usually about the end of May, you want to cut them back halfway. So if they're 10 inches tall, you're going to take them back to 5. And then the 4th of July, you're going to want to pinch just a maybe like a half inch off the top of them. And that will ensure them staying short and, again, nice mound and not floppy.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Same with asters?
Same with asters, exact same thing.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Well, you have anything else to say about the mums? Shop local?
Shop local, please.
Yes. And the weather has been crazy this year.
Well, it's confused. I'm going to say it's confused people, but it's really the warm weather did play a big factor in growing mums. There's heat delay. And then the other thing is people just weren't wanting to come out and shop in the hot weather.
I'll admit, I didn't get my mums until yesterday.
Well, as soon as it got cooler, we've been
now I'm in the
more.
fall mood. But there was a week at the beginning of the season where it was like 60 degrees every day. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm in the fall mood. But the mums were still really small. And I was like, oh, I'll wait a little bit. Well, then it was 90 degrees for a month straight.
Yeah.
And I think people just have not been in the fall mood. So now the weather is cooler, which is why we chose to talk about the mums for today, because it's just time to shop, time to buy and shop local.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, with the blooms, so if they're already opened, how long is it normal to have blooms on those?
So mum bloom time is usually about a month and a half, almost 2 months. And if you're good about deadheading, because if you get out there and start deadheading, you'll see there's tons of little buds underneath. So if you keep it deadheaded, gives those more opportunity to develop.
So even if you see, like, I've had a lot of customers come in and they're like, oh my gosh, the white mums are beautiful, but they're already all bloomed out.
There's buds underneath there.
Yeah, so if you can still get them, because if they're bloomed out and then they're spent, which actually, this is one of the customer questions for this, which normally we do a segment called Getting to the Root of It, and we answer customer questions. But we can just jump this one to the front of the line because somebody asked, do you deadhead mums?
Yeah.
So you just pinch off those dead blooms and then there's buds underneath.
Yep.
And they will rebloom and last long into the fall. How long, when people ask how long the blooms last, what would you say?
Again, from the time they start, it's a good 2 months of bloom time.
Also, with the weather cooler, great time for planting. A lot of people are afraid to plant trees, shrubs, perennials in the fall. Personally, it's my preferred time too.
I was going to say the same thing. Yeah, I think that fall planting, you get them in there, they don't have that stress of the hot weather immediately after planting. You've got them in the ground, the roots are going to take off a little bit yet this fall, especially if you use the root and grow. And then next spring, they've got a few new roots started and they just take off faster, I think.
Yeah. So I was actually going to ask about the root and grow because I always recommend that, and I feel like I've always recommended it for fall too. But then I kind of like stopped myself the other day because you know how we've been recently moving his sister and sister-in-law, and we just did a bunch of planting at their place, and Jordan was like, "Oh, you need to get the root and grow." And then I got to thinking, isn't there a fertilizer in there? And don't we tell people to not fertilize?
There is fertilizer, but it's geared
minuscule
the roots.
Okay. So root and grow, for those of you who aren't familiar, it is a root stimulator. Kind of gives the plant a jump start, and we highly recommend it anytime we sell any like trees, shrubs, perennials. Hey, let's talk about the Arborade and the Winterade.
Yeah.
So this is a new product that we have this year, and it's really just you use it 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, so it goes beyond what fertilizers do. Fertilizers generate lots of new growth, and this has all the trace elements that aren't found in fertilizers. And we have a couple customers that I've been to their homes. They've been using the Arborade for years in the Winterade. They're evergreens. I mean, they use them on all their trees, but the things that stand out to me are the evergreens. Are just amazing. And sometimes evergreens struggle here in Iowa due to our heavy soil, and they don't dry out quick enough. And this just gives them an extra boost. So
what you do with Root and Grow, which we still recommend, and you use that, you can use that every, 3 months? 3 weeks? I'm like, why am I misremembering this?
I think it's 6.
But you can use it multiple. You use it multiple times.
It's on the back, but I think it's like 6 weeks.
Yeah, so you use it multiple times throughout the season.
Yeah.
Whereas Arborade, you can use directly in the spring. So one application in the spring.
Yep.
Then you use Winterade
in the fall.
And you don't have to, so there's certain things like wilt-proof and stuff that it has to be below 60 degrees or something to apply. But Winter-Aid you can use right now. You can use when it's 90 degrees out. Doesn't matter, just in the fall.
Right.
So use that. It gets them nutrients for the fall or the winter season. And then use the person who made it has recommended this. Arbor-Aid once, Winter-Aid in the fall, and then Arbor-Aid again in the spring, and then you'll start to really see a difference.
Right.
So 3 applications.
Yep.
And we have that in stock now.
Yeah, we actually
do.
just last Friday got fully stocked on the Winter-Aid, and it's locally made, right?
It is locally made,
And
right
you,
here in Cedar
You know the
Rapids.
person who makes it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to share him?
I can't
No,
remember.
not his name,
I was
but
gonna
like
say, I
how
can't
you know
remember.
him.
Oh, from
We're not giving away all our secrets.
from the 2 customers that we have that I know well, and then he's come in several times and introduced himself. He's a really nice guy.
Yes, very good guy, and he knows his stuff. So, yeah, we really recommend that. But yeah, so planting in the fall, I mean, I love it because it's easy to dig in the ground when I have Jordan dig in the ground because we know I'm not doing it.
So it's the same for you in the spring or the fall.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, but I feel less bad for
She-
Jordan in the fall.
She just goes out and tells him where to do.
Yeah, at this point where. But yeah, it's easier to dig in the ground. The soil temperatures are still really warm. So, and especially with this warm weather we've been having, it's great. And now it's cooler. So, the plants don't experience heat shock as much.
Well, and then another question that I've had, with people planting in the fall, do you need to water? Yes. So how often? Like every 10 days if it's dry. Now, if we get a wet period, back that off.
Mm-hmm. The general rule of thumb that we talk about in our watering guide, we've talked about it on other episodes, is 1 inch of water per week, including rainwater. That's not like a light rain. It's like a deep rain if you're counting rainwater. But it's really important. I think there's a common misconception of when you go to plant in the fall that it's like, okay, like it's not the heat of summer. We don't need to water as much. It's actually really important to water in the fall. Now, careful of overwatering, but you want to hydrate the plants for winter so they're not going in and drying out so quickly.
Yeah. Which, I have had this question several times this week about watering in the fall. And, so we had an awesome summer that was
very timely
sequential,
rains.
Yeah, very
we talk about it
timely
every week on
rains.
the radio show.
And then, of course, August come and it just kind of shut off. So, yeah, do water, but again, like I said, every 10 days or so. Good throw soaking when you do it. But certain things, like evergreens, again, you don't want to ever overwater those. But except for arborvitae, they do not like to go into winter dry. So
yeah. What about Vanderwolf pines?
Vanderwolf pines can dry. They can get dry.
We need to get the Winter-Aid for our stuff.
Well, I think we should just put it on everything then.
Well, yeah, we'll put it on everything, but our evergreens especially, I want to
Yeah.
shoot up and get a little more privacy.
They've grown quite a bit.
Our Vanderwolf pines grow very fast.
They do grow fast. They're beautiful.
Yeah, in my
Great
parents'
tree.
yard too. It's just they planted theirs and like 3 years later we're.
Yeah.
They're a pretty fast grower. Unfortunately, we are fully out of them now.
Oh shoot, sorry.
Okay.
But for next spring,
Next
consider
spring
it.
we will definitely have them in again, but yeah, for this year I think we sold the last one a couple days ago. So
I don't know if you know fully, like off the top of your head, what's in stock, but some things that are in stock that you love that you would recommend planting at this fall.
we have quite a few Weigelia still in stock, which are a great bloomer. We still have some lilac bloomerings, which you're going to get multiple blooms during the growing season if you prune them back after the blooms are spent. Trying to think. We have some hydrangeas still out there. Veronica. I'm a big fan of Veronica. They have a new hybrid. It's the Magic Potion line. Pinks, purples, great shrub or perennial. They stay compact. I think they get 16 to 18 inches tall and about the same wide, and they're kind of like a salvia, but kind of don't flop
nice
as
foliage and rebloomers.
Yeah, mine have been blooming all summer, so definitely have quite a few of those still in stock. So we've planted what, 13 at our house now, something like that.
We have a lot of plants that I
But
water.
13 Veronica, I think.
I will say, Jordan gives me so much grief on the podcast for never planting. I do all the watering and fertilizing.
Hey,
I do enough watering here. I don't need to go home and water.
So
but-
speaking of the fertilizing, though, we kind of got off track with this when we were talking about the Arbor-Aid and stuff, and because root and grow is different. That is stimulating the roots, it's fertilizing the roots, and you want that before winter. So if you plant in the fall, use the root and grow or use the Winter-Aid. Would you use both or one?
I think you could do both.
Okay.
Actually.
But we tell people at this time to stop fertilizing. Don't do any more bloom booster, muracid.
Yeah. So anything that's in the ground that's not going to be brought in the house, you want to stop fertilizing the 1st of August, and that's because you don't want to encourage green, soft growth that's not going to be cured by the time it freezes.
You want to start preparing the plants for dormancy.
Right.
Yeah, but keep watering because they need that
Yeah.
for dormancy.
Now your blooming plants like annuals and tropicals, go ahead and keep fertilizing those.
Yeah, if you want them to last, they're not going to come back anyway. So
Right.
yeah, that's fine.
So, Bob, what's your favorite tree then?
My
Ever?
favorite
Or that we
tree
have?
Ever.
is ginkgo. My second favorite is larch.
Large.
Love larch trees.
Our ginkgo tree, I have complained about it to Bob for the last 4 years because when we moved in, it was Jordan's favorite tree. He's like, we have to get
Still
the
is my
ginkgo
favorite
tree.
tree.
And so we planted it, and they're expensive. And I was like, okay, is this going to be worth it? And he's like, it gets the best fall color. The leaves drop all at the same time when it gets us to a certain temperature. And for the first couple years, for the first couple years, it did not change. It kind of changed color
changed.
vaguely, and they kind of fell off. Like, it just wasn't the impact that I was waiting for. I will say, this is the first year number 4, where it is like the most magical orange, gold, yellow color. I finally understand why people love ginkgo trees. And the leaf shape is cool. But
The leaf shape is cool.
the color in the fall is stunning. So if you recently planted a ginkgo tree, they are super slow growers.
Yeah.
It's not doing the fall color that you were expecting, don't be discouraged.
Yeah.
They are slow and it takes patience.
So
But
I'm glad you finally agreed that that's our best tree.
I mean, I love it. And I knew I would love it, but I just every year I'd be like, Bob, it's just like not doing its thing. And he's like, it's fine. Just be patient.
even when I think it was the second year, it got tiny leaves. It didn't even get the full big leaf. Is that
Yeah.
common in ginkgos then?
Sometimes, yeah,
Yeah.
especially if you've got heavy soil. Once they get adapted to all those conditions, and again,
Environment.
you might as well plan on it sitting there for 3 years before it
Yeah.
takes off.
They're
That's
slow.
really true. Now, a fun little fact about ginkgos: one of the few trees that made it through the Ice Age.
Really?
Yeah.
What other trees did?
The dawn redwood is another one.
Okay. And let's hit on, we've talked about it a few times. I know we talked about it on the radio show last week, but just to recap, ginkgo trees nowadays are not the smelly ones.
Okay, so yeah, there are.
I introduced that poorly, but they're good.
There are male ginkgo trees and there are female ginkgo trees. Now, are there some female ginkgos around in Iowa? Yes, they were probably planted by seed. All of the ginkgo trees that you would find at a nursery are grown from vegetative cuttings, guaranteeing that they're always going to be male.
So there are like news articles if you look up a ginkgo tree, because a vendor gave him a ginkgo tree, like a sapling, and he gave it to Shannon. And so she was looking up, about the ginkgo trees and stuff, and she panicked because online it was saying like, don't plant ginkgo trees, and it was like posted by like the city of Marion and stuff. Granted, the article was from 15 years ago, but it was saying like it drops this fruit and it smells so bad, and oh my gosh, I
It
can't
does
get rid
smell
of it,
bad.
and
It's pretty bad.
all this stuff. And so she was like, well, Katie, I don't want to plant this in my yard. And I'm like, well, those are female ginkgo trees. These are male ginkgo trees. We would only ever sell a male ginkgo tree now.
I couldn't
So-
even. Well, I wouldn't even be able to get a female tree because no
one
vendor
would
will
even
have
sell
them.
them.
No,
Nobody
nobody
wants
will.
them, so.
Nobody would have it.
So I'm just saying, if like you're kind of inspired by listening to this and you go to Google a ginkgo tree, do not be discouraged by the bad online articles. Those
skip
are
them
about
all.
trees that nobody plants anymore. It's from
Yeah.
many moons ago. And
Which
Yeah. No, I on my evening walks, I go past a ginkgo tree. It's a female, and it smells like dog poo. But
how long ago was it probably planted?
oh, it's big. I'm sure it's a good 70 years old,
Yeah.
if not more. But it has a little nut inside, so it kind of is about the size of a small plum, kind of peachy, fleshy color, and then inside there's a nut, and the nut is edible.
Oh, have
Yeah.
you eaten it?
I have not, but when I used to live in Iowa City,
the smell.
there were tons of.
Yeah, it smells like dog poop. I'm
Yeah.
going to eat it.
Well, the nut doesn't. It's the fruit does.
Yeah.
So that you'll see people down along the river there where the art museum used to be,
Yeah.
with chopsticks, and they would pinch the flesh off and then harvest the nut.
That's a lot of work for a nut.
It's
It
a
must
lot.
be pretty good.
Well, yeah, yes. I don't know. I would try it.
He's like,
I
want
feel
it
like you
now.
gotta try it if you have the opportunity
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
So I guess another tree. What about catalpa trees? What do you?
Love catalpa trees.
Isn't that like one of your
so
favorites?
when they bloom, they're incredible. So they
Why don't we have one in our yard?
Because they
get big.
They get
Yeah, we
big
don't have a super huge.
and
So big.
They get
There's one drawback, but let's talk about
He's
that.
like, let's ignore that.
the leaves.
So-
the leaves though.
They get enormous. The leaves are
Huge.
enormous. The trees get enormous, and they have clusters of flowers that look like tiny orchids. Flowers are about this big, but there's like 50 or 60 of them on a cluster, and they bloom, usually in June sometimes. And then they're followed by beans. They get some long beans. They're probably about so long, like a large green bean, and they kind of hang on there. They'll hang on there way into winter, and then they sometimes drop depending on snow load. That's the only drawback. Now, would it discourage me from planting one? No, because I mean you've got something with all trees. You've got acorns with oak trees. You got the little helicopters with maple trees. You got the little fruit with crab apples. So everything has something.
Yeah.
You just have to rake it up occasionally.
Deal with it.
But those came in blooming this year, and I think they went out pretty quick after. So
Oh yeah,
I was gonna say
And
we don't
there's-
have any,
they're
do we?
incredible.
I think there's two left. I believe, but I want to say, I could be wrong, but I thought they came out with one that doesn't have
The beans.
the beans.
Which could be because that's kind of like the Kentucky coffee
yeah,
tree
the
too.
espresso
Oh.
variety
which
doesn't.
is becoming more popular
Mm-hmm.
just due to its disease resistance. I mean, there's no bug that attacks Kentucky coffee tree, and there's no diseases. It's native to Iowa. The native ones get a big bean pod on them too, but the hybrids
Yeah,
do
it's the
not.
espresso, I believe,
Yes.
is what they are.
Mhm.
We do have some of those in stock in B&B, so a little bigger tree. I will say the Kentucky coffee tree isn't a lot to look at right when
When they're small,
Smaller.
they look a little scrappy.
but we've gotten a couple in the years past that have been pretty big ones, and I get why people like them after you
Yeah.
see them a little bigger.
Yeah.
So definitely look up a picture. If
So
you
we have the
like.
Kentucky coffee right now,
We have
and they're a little scrappy, but they'll
yeah.
come back fine in the spring.
Well,
No,
it's just that when they're juvenile.
yeah, they're a little
So just
airy.
in general,
Yeah,
Just
they
in
don't
general.
look great.
It-
no matter what
yeah.
time of year they are, they're not full, but once they get a little bigger, they do fill out
Yeah,
quite a bit.
they're beautiful. Another thing that's become more popular. It's been around for years, but is the Tupelo.
Oh yeah,
The black gum.
Oh,
Yeah.
the wildfire is the one
Wow.
that we've carried quite a bit, and
If you want good fall color, that's the tree.
even in spring, you get when the leaves come out. There's a little hint of red on them,
Yeah,
which is
little
really
bronziness.
nice. So those ones have been a big seller, and
Jim Winship's favorite tree.
Is it?
I always tell people that. That's just like what I think of
Yeah.
when somebody talks about a black gum. I think about Jim because he is obsessed with them.
yeah, I got them in, and then all of a sudden I turn around, they're sold out, and I went out and I was like, "Who's selling these?" And Jim was like, "Me, if you could get more, that'd be great."
He
so
loves them.
I mean, we sold quite a few. I
Do you have
think.
any right now?
I think we have some in B&Bs. I think we've been sold out in containers for a couple
Hot
months
minute.
now. Just
Again-
before even the sale started, we were out of them because they're just a good color, and they're like I would say fall color similar to a maple with the red, but a different leaf and another texture in the yard. So I think a lot of people that have maples have kind of, I want to black them now because it kind of gives the same thing, but it's different.
A different shape, and maybe not quite as large as a maple tree.
Yeah, they say a little, but again, the fall color and diversifying your yard. Not everybody wants a bunch of maples, which is good.
Right.
So,
Yeah, and all the trees, shrubs. Well, trees and shrubs are 50% off now, and perennials
are going to be 75% off.
they are 75%.
Oh, they are.
off.
forget we record this early.
That's like the hardest trick is like we record a few days early or whatever,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's hard to keep
So
track.
we have Veronica when we recorded this. I can't promise that we have it.
75% off perennials right now, 50% off trees and shrubs.
Yep.
We have 25% off mums and asters. I should have mentioned that when we were talking about them earlier. And fall annuals, 30% off outdoor glazed pottery. Got everything? Are we missing anything?
Still a great time to plant as we
Yeah.
just kind of walk through. So
Let's get into our next segment is getting into the root of it. And that's where, I know I mentioned it earlier, but that's where we answer customer questions.
Okay.
So the first one we already answered was you can deadhead
Yes.
mums. You're
You want to.
encouraged to
Yeah.
deadhead mums.
to get more blooms.
The second one is somebody asked, and I apologize for getting to this late. Somebody asked this like a few weeks ago, but if you plant so a lot of people plant perennials in pots, and because they like the look for their
Sure.
pots. Can they plant perennials in pots for the season and then put them in the ground to come
Absolutely.
back next year?
Absolutely.
But then the big misconception is a lot of people are shocked to find out that you can't leave them in pots and they'll come back next year.
No, and there's several reasons. It's the freezing and thawing is what kills plants in the winter. So you've got that constant freezing and thawing when it's above ground.
Yeah. So plant.
Well, I guess not saying this is foolproof, but you can if they're in their plastic pot and you bury that in
You
the
can
ground.
bury, yeah, you could, yes.
Then you could potentially, if it survives, pull it out
and you
and reuse it.
Yeah.
Because I know a couple people have done
Absolutely.
that with
Yep.
even boxwoods
That's
they do
right.
it with. So
Mhm.
that is
Yeah.
an option too.
And this question is not necessarily, well, kind of plant related, but yeah, I was posting that you were going to be our next guest, and a few people wanted to know, what is your favorite part of your job?
Well, the growing.
Yeah.
I mean,
The plants.
Yeah, it's just fun because it happens so quickly, and there's changeover 4 times a year, and so it's always something new, and it never bores me.
Yeah. Well, and I guess we can talk about that briefly. We grow for several different seasons. A lot of people think we just grow for the spring, and a lot of people think we start in April.
Yeah, I have gotten that a lot over the years. That people are always shocked to know that we start planting the 5th of January.
Like literally we're packing up Christmas still, and they're in the greenhouse planting.
Yeah,
For
so
May.
we get started early. Many people do not realize that.
Well, and that kind of goes back to our ode to shopping local and our team growing locally is just like the mums. People think that it's just like a quick get plants in, get them
Yeah.
out. And I know when you're shopping, it's easy to just stop and pick things up. But we really like to encourage people to shop local because so much time and effort and care has gone into those. So we start planting in January for plants that we sell in May, 5 months later. We start planting for fall in May for plants, mums that we sell in September, 5 months later, 10 months later, or 5 months later in October. So I guess it's just kind of interesting. Like we're always thinking 6 months ahead. When I walked into the 40x60 the other day, weeks ago, actually at this point, you guys were planting ferns.
Yes, so we planted several hundred fern baskets, our macho ferns, our tiger ferns, Boston ferns, and Boston gold baskets.
And for context, you were planting those in September for May.
For May. Mhm.
So how many months is that? That's 8 months
Yeah.
ahead.
Yes.
So there's just a lot that goes into our growing process, and I just like cannot say enough about
Yeah.
our growing team. It's just insane what they do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess those were the only few questions that we had for getting to the root of it this episode.
Well, I guess a question,
you
is
had a
there
question?
anything new coming out in the annuals or house plants or anything that you've
Like, what are
come
you excited for
across?
next
So
year?
there's Angelonia. There's 3 new colors of Angelonia. Now
Okay.
that, again, too, that's just something that it's been on the market maybe for 10 years or so. Wider array of colors just recently. But the one good thing about Angelonia for us Iowans is that it tolerates hot, dry weather. and it's totally deer resistant.
Oh,
There you go.
Yeah.
we love
So
that.
because that's a big concern to a lot of people.
Yeah, it is.
So, that's probably one of the biggest things. Of course, every year there's new petunias. And the colors.
How many
get
varieties of
crazier.
petunias do we grow? It's like insane. Whenever I do the signage for them, I'm like, oh boy.
I bet there's 60 different
Yeah.
varieties,
It's
anywhere
crazy.
from the wave petunias, to a lot of vegetative type of petunias. But the color array has become greater. It used to be just whites, pinks, purples, some reds, but now there's golds and oranges, and that's due to, and I don't mean to scare people with this, but they're GMO.
Yeah.
So they introduce a corn gene to get these exotic colors.
Well, I mean, that's the only way they can.
Yeah,
They're
and
not
it's
natural.
not like you're going to eat them. So
Yeah.
So,
Well, people have been loving the black ones for contrast.
yeah.
I feel like run out of those pretty quickly.
Well, yeah, it's because you do the black and gold.
Well, yeah, and like people get them a lot for graduation parties
Yeah.
to put as
Oh, yeah.
like centerpieces and stuff when their
Absolutely.
kids going to Iowa or something. Yeah, so our next segment is What's the Dirt? And this is when we ask people for funny stories in either the gardening, landscaping industry, or just anything, any story they want to tell, anything that's different going on. Like you were just talking about the Angelonia. And so do you have any funny you have
story.
had many, many years in this industry, and I have to assume that you've had some silly things happen to you.
Oh, yeah, and I was going to try to think of something offhand, and I shared one story with you the other day.
He
but
goes, I
not
don't know
really,
if that's appropriate.
Not appropriate, yeah.
There's a couple. When that one day that we showed up to work and had a surprise guest in the
Oh, the one with no pants.
Where?
in the nursery area.
Somebody was just standing out there with no pants on?
She was walking around shopping, no pants.
Why is this the first time I'm hearing this?
I just thought of one. And again, too, I don't want to dog customers or anything.
No,
but,
never.
I sold 10 bougainvillea baskets to somebody one day, all white. She was quite inebriated. And she had a kid with her, which is even more frightening because she's out driving. Anyway, she loaded them into her car, and somebody had called the cops on her, by the way, another customer. But she come back 4 days later and said that they were all dead. And I said, well, I guarantee you ours look fine still. And I took her back to where they were growing, where she had picked them out from. Mm-hmm. She goes, well, I don't know. I said, did you leave them in your car? Well, she had left them in her car. It was like a 90-degree gauge. She had fried
4
them.
days with the windows up, I'm sure.
Yeah. So, anyway.
Well, and a lot of people don't realize that too, is like treat your plants like dogs. Like
Can't
if
leave them in the car.
you cannot leave them in the car with the windows up, they will suffocate.
Yeah.
Like you have to, if you're a lot of people will stop at Culver's first and then go to get groceries or whatever. You have to crack the windows or you have to like leave the air on or something.
Or
but
just run home and put them in your
yeah,
wherever they're
but
gonna go first.
we've had that happen several times where people come back a couple days later and they're like, "Oh, why is this dead?" And then they hadn't taken it out of their car since they had been there 2 days earlier.
Also,
So.
laying down trees when you leave is always a good bet in the back of pickup trucks.
Oh, instead of standing them.
Yeah, some people.
Well, tell that story about you sent me a video
So
of that one tree leaving the B&B.
We had a very large B&B. It was probably, I don't even know, like 14 to 16 feet tall. And the guy had a Tacoma, so we loaded it up. And I was like, hey, we should probably like lean that back so it doesn't wrap it, lean it back. He's like, no, it'll be fine. Not even out of the turn of Culver's, I see the tree just snap back. And I think it was fine. He never came back. He had his warranty and everything. Never came back. It lived because he did come in later and was like, I love that tree, but I thought it was going to take off the back of his tailgate.
Well, there was
Because
like this truck in the video just driving out and this huge tree just sticking straight.
It was
out of the
actually
truck.
like, I just got the memory on Snapchat. It was like 2 weeks ago, like
from the
4
day.
years ago,
Yeah.
2 weeks ago.
No.
It was a catalpa tree.
Oh, yeah. They would snap back all right. One of the things I wanted to just mention that you brought up about wrapping trees when you're transporting them. Huge thing. Not many places do it. We do.
Yes.
Always do. We wrap them in burlap, and it helps keep
The
the
branches.
plant. Yeah, because when you're driving 65 mile an hour and the leaves are like slapping against everything, it dehydrates them, it bruises them, and then it sets the tree back. So we wrap them all, and again too, like Jordan said, has to be laid down. You cannot drive off with one standing up, because inevitably it's either going to snap off or you're just going to get too much wind.
Well, people ask all the time, like, I only have my SUV, is it okay if I lay it down? I'm like, oh yeah, you actually need to lay it down. Or even if in a truck or whatever, you need to lay it down for a
you want to lay it down, and don't leave it overnight laid down. It's not gonna, you could leave it laid down, it's probably not the best thing for it. Just get home and stand it up. Just don't leave it in the back of the truck.
Right.
Yeah. I'm kind of wondering if you should share your story.
I don't know. You can always edit it out. If
I can. It's funny. It's not anyone in particular.
No.
You don't have to if you don't want to.
Well, it was like I think it was the first year I worked here. I delivered a large indoor tree to somebody, and I knocked on the door, and I could hear dogs barking, and finally somebody come to the door in a teddy.
Lingerie. Right? That's what.
Yeah. I could just feel myself turning red. And she goes, oh, come on in. She goes, the dogs are going to be running down the stairs. Well, she had 2 Irish wolfhounds, which were pretty darn cool. But yeah, I was a little uncomfortable.
Well, yeah, I'd say so. What do you do in that situation?
You just put the tree in and get out as fast as you can.
Keep your eyes down and go.
Like, not interested, thank you.
And also just acting like that was totally normal is wild. Like answering the door in lingerie and then just
not right.
It's just not right.
Not dogging any customers, but years ago, a customer come in and she chose some pots. I wasn't working with her. A lady was working with her that used to work here. She spent a lot of money. Mm-hmm. And so we were going to pot all this stuff in there for her. And she'd come back and she goes, oh, those aren't the pots I picked out. And again, she was working with the lady that, all done. It was thousands of dollars with this. Those aren't the pots. That's not the right color. And she was getting pretty agitated. And finally I butted in. I said, put your sunglasses on.
Oh, because she picked him out with her sunglasses on.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that. That is like...
And she goes, oh.
They're the same.
Oh. So anyway.
So did she like him or not?
No. Great. We still had to switch him out, but
at least she
knew it was her mistake.
Yeah. As soon as she put her sunglasses on, she was like, oh.
Oh, man.
Yeah. With customers in a situation like Culver's, 99.9% of the customers are awesome.
We seriously, we don't just say that to say that.
No.
We get the nicest.
I wouldn't say it to say it.
No, Bob would not lie to you. He's pretty upfront. But seriously, we get just the best people. And of course, we work in retail. We work in customer service. You're always going to have people who are just having a bad day and want to take it out on you. But then we get people who... Literally yesterday, a lady came in and she was so excited because we're setting up Christmas right now, which is crazy, but we are, and behind the scenes. And she kind of was looking through it and stuff. And she was talking about, when's your open house? And November 15th and 16th. And she just was so excited. And I hear this all the time, more often than not, when she was like, oh my gosh, I just love coming out here. It just makes my day. If I'm having a bad day or if I'm stressed at work or if I have family issues, she's like, this is where I come. This is my peaceful, happy place. And we love to hear that because that's just what we strive to be for people. But it's just so cool when people, it's fun working at a place that's so happy and there's so much beauty around you because it's everyone's happy place. And it's our happy place. That's why Bob's never going to retire, right?
I'm going to work as long as I can.
But
I guess bringing up Christmas, and it's not that close, but it's coming up. Flock trees.
Oh, yeah, Bob flock trees.
So we do flock trees, yeah. And
he's so humble. He says we. It's him. Bob is the only
he's
one
the only one that does it.
Used to be huge thing, and then it kind of dropped off. A lot of businesses, We do. I don't know how many. If it's more business related or
You mean like what we flock for?
home. Yeah, I guess it's about half and half.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we
actually.
do a lot of corporate setup and
Yeah.
stuff too.
But again, too, was hugely popular. But there's still people out there that want them, and I think we're about the only place here in town that does it.
Really? I know. I guess I never really hear about that.
So on a flock tree, you got to do a fresh cut on most trees. Is it another fresh cut after
No.
it's flocked?
No,
or that's the
so
fresh
we
cut?
put them in a wire stand or a heavier stand if they're larger. You spray the tree down with water. You blow the flocking on once it's to the flock heaviness that you want. Then you water it down again. We put a fan on it, let it dry overnight.
And then, okay, I was
So do you
trying
still
to explain
water?
this.
Do you still water a flock tree?
No,
It's just
you just.
And then what
done.
were you
Just
telling
do
me
it.
years ago? Did you say that they last for like 3 years if you want them to? Most people don't, but you said I thought your mom or somebody
I wouldn't
did.
suggest it, but
Yeah.
my mom did one
Yes.
time. Kept it for 2 years, and it's like, are you kidding
Like she
me?
put it in like a big
My
bag.
dad was like, Vivian, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
It happened.
Yeah, but yeah, you don't have to water them.
No.
And they're really, really beautiful. So
Yeah.
get on the list if you want a flock tree. By Bob. Bob himself. That's actually what I put in your promo too. I said he flocks Christmas trees. Yeah, well, thank you so much for being a very special guest today.
Thank you.
We're so happy to have you on. And I know your time is so valuable, but I know the people are going to want to see you more. So
Okay, we can do that.
he's like, fine.
Many subjects.
Yes, he knows everything about everything. So let
Yeah.
us know.
I don't know
You
about
do.
that.
Literally, somebody came in the other day and it was asking this bizarre question that I thought maybe Bob, for the first time ever, might have to be like, okay, well, I bet it's like this and have to think about it a little bit. Knew the answer right off the bat. And I just kind of stared at him and I'm like, you really do just know everything. Like, I'm like, it's like, what? Like, it's just, it was so random. And he just knew exactly what he was talking about, the moss wall.
Oh.
And he's like talking about the paste and the.
Oh, yeah. They were asking, how to create a moss wall with living moss, and it's a process where you harvest moss, like out of the wild. Or sometimes it's growing along your foundation or something. You chop it up a little bit. You put it in a blender with a little bit of water and buttermilk.
Yeah.
Make a
Yeah,
malt
that's
out
what
of
it
it.
was.
how this just comes like
You make a malt out of it, and then you brush that on your rocks, and
Yeah.
you keep it moist all the time. Yeah.
That's what I was so shocked by. Was he's like, this guy's like, oh, I don't know how to do this, and Bob's like, okay, so buttermilk and blah blah blah. You make a buttermilk paste, blah, 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 and he's like
Now I
rattling
feel like
things
we
off,
need
and
to
I'm
try
like, how do you know these things? Like, it's just, I know you've been in the industry for so long and you accumulate a lot of information, but it's just like, any information I need, like Bob is my source. I'm like, who's your source?
Well, and I have to give it to you. When I was a kid, people would buy me gardening books.
And you just
And
studied.
instead of out playing army with my friends, I was reading gardening books.
Oh my gosh. Well, it's
I'm sure
amazing
my
for
dad
us.
was looking at me like, what is wrong with him?
But look at you now. You're like everybody's gardening king. So, well, thank you so much for being
Well,
on the
thank
show.
you.
And we will definitely have to schedule another time with you.
All right.